And then I ultimately was like, I'm just not good enough. I'm not good enough. I'm not cut out to be an entrepreneur. And that was like wait a second, like bit of a mic drop moment.
Yeah.
It's like this really...
Welcome to Flair. This initiative champions female entrepreneurs offering not just inspiration, but real practical support, including the chance to win £20,000 in advertising to help your business take flight. My name is Fiona Potney, editor of Connect magazine, and today I'm joined by Claudia Sutton and Sophie Clyde-Smith. The pair are co-founders of one of our sponsors, Alt Collective, a Jersey-based community and coaching business that supports women to start and grow purpose-driven careers and companies. If you've ever wondered whether your idea is big enough, or you're sitting on the fence about taking the next step, this conversation is for you.
Okay, thank you so much both for being here. Can I ask you first to introduce yourselves and tell me a little bit about each of your backgrounds? You know, what are your values and drivers? What led you to where you are today?
Thank you for having us. We're very excited to be here. I'm Claudia, and this is Sophie. I'll let you introduce yourself. But so I'm originally from Jersey. My background is in recruitment. I have over kind of 10 years experience working and helping people with their careers before I transitioned and then set up my own business with Sophie. We co-founded Alt Collective in 2021, really on a mission to empower and inspire women on the island, initially from an entrepreneurial perspective, and the business has really grown, and kind of now we look at community leadership, look at sharing stories, just really inspiring people through each other's stories, supporting each other. We host events, we have regular events that we host and deliver. We also deliver coaching programs, careers and business coaching programs to individuals and within organisations.
Hi, I'm Sophie. I'm the other half of Alt Collective. Claudia and I actually met over 20 years ago now, and we were working for the same recruitment agency, and that's where sparks flew and our relationship and friendship really started and began. And we loved working together, and we had these really similar values about work and life and travel and balance and success. The friendship was formed there. I then left Jersey and I travelled to London, to the big city. I was really loving what I was doing, but I was feeling like I was wanting to apply my skills to a new space, something I was a bit more passionate about. And I transitioned my career into the wellness space, a bit more closer to sort of what my degree had been. And that was a journey in itself in terms of making those pivots and figuring out what I wanted to do and having to make scary decisions. And it was through that sort of new line of work where I discovered coaching for the first time ever. I was like, what is this magic? Like, what is this? How have I never come across it before? And even just basic things of introspection and asking, like, how do I feel about that? And what do I want to do? What are my goals? And so self-funded a qualification, and a few months later I was just loving it so much, and I built a side hustle that I quit and went full-time in London. And so
that's a big step.
It was a big step, but it just felt really right. You know, have you ever had that feeling where you're in alignment, and yes, it's scary, but it felt good. So this was, going really well, sort of nearly 10 years ago now, and I was working with female founders, coaching them and supporting them and helping set up their own side hustles and making their own pivots. And then COVID hit, and it was this auspicious moment of sort of serendipity, I suppose, of Claudia and I coming back together and being back on the rock for the first time together for quite a few years. And obviously it was a really difficult period of time for so many people, but there are a lot of silver linings that have come out of COVID. And one of them for us is Alt Collective being born. And so we came back together. We were having all these meetings on the beach. It was all outside, coffees and croissants type vibe. And we were just sparking ideas like, what could we do together, and where are we at now in our careers, and how could we help people? Because Claudia had also been on that journey of funding her coaching qualification, and you were doing your thing too. So we were like, how could we do something together? And at that moment, we really wanted to find opportunities to see what was going on in the Jersey network, find out what was happening in the market, maybe attend events and start connecting with people. And we really saw a gap in the market market at that point for more informal, more female-led opportunities to connect and communities. And so that's how it really started. And we set up our first ever event. It was at Locks, and it was a female founder panel event, and that went so incredibly well, and there was this energy in the room and this atmosphere, and it all came from there, and it's obviously grown so much since then. But in terms of us being able to use our passions and our strengths and our expertise to help build this community in Jersey and add value to the island, it's a bit of a dream come true.
So a lot of what you do, obviously, it's around working with founders, it's helping them build their confidence. But let's just pause quickly on your journey yourselves. I mean, guide us through that early process of actually setting up. You know, it's all well and good, lots of people have these kind of dreams, but actually turning them into a reality from those beach conversations. I mean, what process did you go through, and you know, what did you do to start building up that community?
Oh my goodness. So yeah, I think especially for me, obviously Sophie had been working and running her own business for a number of years before moving back to Jersey, and I'd always followed Sophie. We've been friends for a long time before, and was very inspired by her career journey. So as she said, I'd kind of invested in my own coaching qualification. I was side hustling and building up my coaching expertise outside of my full-time role. And really, when we started to talk, I think I had been holding back so much. My lack of self-confidence in what I was doing, I was procrastinating, I was doubting myself. I was really, really scared to leave my full-time job, you know, for fear of so many things, fear of failure, fear of it going wrong, fear of what other people would think, being judged, you know, coming from a small place, there's so many benefits, but obviously it is a small community and, you know, you do worry about what your family and friends will say. So there was all of this kind of doubt and fear holding me back. And I really, you know, when Sophie and I connected, I was so grateful because I think doing it together has been so helpful and really being brave to take that first step. And, you know, I think for me, I did it alongside my full-time role initially, and then I had the courage to kind of negotiate a shorter week. I went down to 4 days a week, and then I went down to 1 day a week. So it was a transition for me, which in my situation worked really well because I was able to, you know, build up my financial situation to make that full-time leap, one that felt really good and felt, you know, it was a good time. But really, yeah, I think having the community, having the support from Sophie and investing in my own training, my own coaches as well, really helped me to kind of overcome those initial barriers about being a full-time entrepreneur, which I never really thought I would be, to be honest. That wasn't necessarily what I thought that I would be doing. So, yeah, that was my experience.
And so just going through, you know, those early steps in the process, so you've built up the confidence in order to be able to launch, you know, how were you getting the word out? How were you trying to find people who kind of aligned with what you were trying to achieve?
Yeah, that's actually a really good point, because our route to entrepreneurship, particularly with Alt Collective, was driven by community. So we didn't start with a 5-year plan. We didn't start with, we've actually bootstrapped the whole way. So we didn't have any external funders, which gave us a lot of flexibility. It gave us a lot of opportunity to sort of move fast and break things, so to speak, and just take that messy action. And so for us, building those communities through the events was a really great way for us to just start connecting with our ideal target audience, start hearing real life stories about what their challenges were, what was going on, what was happening in Jersey, where could we maybe create services around what people actually needed. So for us, developing the connection to our community through events was critical to our growth. And actually I'd say we took our time with it, because I had my other business. It was supplementing my income. Claudia was obviously side hustling at the time, so we didn't go all in straight away, and that allowed us to give ourselves a bit of time to grow things more gently, I suppose, in a way, and that gave us the chance to just be able to figure out what we needed to do and then build things as we went. I think there's so many different routes into entrepreneurship, and when you go down the funding route, you do have to have more of a strategic longer term plan, because there's obviously so many different external stakeholders that are involved. But because we were so agile, and we had super low overheads, we don't have an office, we work remotely or from a co-working space, when you're providing services outside of sort of digital subscriptions, there's not loads of costs. So it gave us the opportunity to sort of really take things forward in a way that we really wanted to. It took a bit of the pressure off. And yeah, we were just able to do the one-to-one coaching initially. And since then, we've developed our group coaching program, Bold Moves, which took us a few years to develop. But we're so glad we took that time to develop that, because it takes a huge amount of time to develop new products and services in a business. And yeah, like we've been able to do that and come to, I suppose, the market with something which is really needed.
I think that's what's really important about what you've said. It sounds like, you're always listening, you're looking to really, really, really understand on a deep and intimate level, what founders, entrepreneurs might need, what support they would really, really value. I mean, tell me a bit about, those early sessions. What were you hearing? What did you learn from people in terms of what was lacking in that support?
I think I think on any entrepreneur's journey, obviously investment, which is why this initiative is so brilliant, having the ability to invest in your business, whether that's through, your own investment savings, but also through funding. But I think the knowledge of how to do it, not everyone has a business degree who wants to set up a business. So having that mentoring, having that insight and conversation with people that are perhaps a few steps ahead of you, that was something that was really important to us. At Alt Collective, we've created space that we really wanted ourselves, the support that we wanted, and to hear the stories from women who were a few years ahead or even more, successful entrepreneurs who are running international businesses from Jersey. We wanted to hear their stories. We wanted to get their insights and learn from them. So I think that was for us when we're working with women and entrepreneurs who are starting out, the knowledge that we can impart from our own experience, but also from the women and other entrepreneurs that we've worked with. I think that's really invaluable.
Yeah, I'll just add to that as well. From a coaching perspective, we often look at things from a mindset and a strategy perspective. So Claude's there was talking about perhaps the strategy that goes into it, the how, like where do I even start? How do I even approach setting up and starting a business? But then there's also the mindset piece. And actually this is probably the foundation where we see women holding themselves back, because it's very rarely that it's competence which is holding women back. It's actually often their confidence. And so much of the work we do, whether it's with female founders or with women working in organizations and leadership positions or wanting to just navigate any sort of change, is helping them to develop the confidence to make decisions, the confidence to believe in themselves. Because when you don't believe in yourself, suddenly you have a real lack of clarity, because you're like, oh, I can't do that, I'm not good enough. So you can't even sort of see what you want to do. And that's really critical for founders, because you ultimately, depending on what your partnership structure is, oftentimes you're on your own. And so if you don't back yourself, no one else is going to. So that's a skill, and it takes repetition and it's a habit to cultivate that self-belief and do scary things and challenge yourself and, put yourself forward for speaking and things like this as an example. It's really scary and it's not natural, but it helps you grow your business. So these are the challenges that we support our clients with, because that's what coaching is. It's helping people to grow and develop and just become the best versions of themselves.
I mean, as you say, that confidence piece is absolutely crucial, whether you're talking kind of C-suite or an early kind of career or entrepreneur person. But, why is it that women hold back in that sense, in your view? Is there anything that disrupts that confidence at any period in time? Is there anything in particular that you find that they frequently have to work on?
Yeah, I mean,
so much.
I can speak that'll be a long conversation. Pandora's box we're opening here. Yeah, we can speak to this in depth, but we'll try and keep it high level. And what we've come to learn is that women face three key barriers. So there's personal barriers, there's cultural, and there's also, organisational and societal. And so we at Alt Collective really focus on the personal barriers that hold us back. Obviously, if you're in an organisation, there can be unconscious bias, and there's, the society that we've grown up in. We're definitely moving in the right direction, but there are limitations still. And there's also societal limitations, of course, like that is still a real thing. I mean, the gender pay gap and the wealth gap they're all very real, but we really like to focus on where we feel that we have real agency as an organisation and as individuals coaching women in Jersey and beyond, and it's supporting them with the personal barriers. And oftentimes we can be our own worst enemies, and it's through those unconscious beliefs where we can hold ourselves back. But also I think a lot of women do face certain unique challenges in terms of conditioning. So being held back by like fear of judgment as a like visibility is like a really difficult thing for some individuals. So being able to take control and learn how to overcome our own limitations. Sometimes you can't control the external ones, but we can focus on what we can control.
I think speaking up and visibility that you touched there, but also really owning it and kind of that self-celebration, and we have an exercise we call the brag sheet, and even
really?
the word brag, when we first discussed it, it gave me like, oh, bragging, no, it's not what you're meant to do, be humble, but actually that holds you back, and that holds women back in particular, because we don't celebrate ourselves, and we don't talk about our achievements. We don't feel comfortable bragging about our successes, or even acknowledging them ourselves.
I mean, there's always that fear, isn't there, of coming on too strong, or being, someone who is kind of pushing themselves forward, and then you're actually thinking, like, am I actually really, capable of doing this?
But the truth is, you have to be brave and bold in order to really, be brave to say what you want, to even dream and believe that it's possible for you. And I think that's something that comes out of a lot of the work that we do. One of the clients recently said a question that they asked themselves at the end of the sessions that we had was, am I dreaming big enough? What a powerful question is that, and what an amazing limitation that suddenly you realise, actually, maybe I'm not dreaming big enough. And what is possible? What am I capable of? As opposed to, I can't do that, or I'm not very good at this. And, you start to shift the narrative about how you talk about yourself and to yourself, and that starts to really unlock your potential.
So how are you going about shifting that narrative? Walk me through a little bit how you work with clients. What kind of tools do you have in your toolbox? You mentioned brag sheets, for example. What sorts of things do you do to assist them on their journey?
Okay, well, one of the things we often say is you can't change what you can't see. And so it all starts with awareness. So I'll give a little bit of a personal example. Back all those years ago when I invested in the coaching and qualification, we had to do peer-to-peer coaching, and my coach sat there and said, okay, look, is there something that's challenging you right now? And I was like, actually, yeah, I'm discovered coaching and I love it. And I keep thinking about what I could do next with it. And I keep coming up against this barrier of I could never do it because no one in my family at that time had ever done entrepreneurship, and I don't really know how. And I was sharing all these things, and this is the power of not being able to change what you can't see. Because in that next moment, she asked me, okay, tell me more. And then I ultimately was like, I'm just not good enough. I'm not good enough. I'm not cut out to be an entrepreneur. And that was like wait a second, bit of a mic drop moment.
Yeah.
It's really it was like this light bulb that went off in my head. And she was like, oh, okay, well, what evidence do you have that tells you that's true? I was like, I don't have any evidence. I have never tried. And so I had put this, and this was showing up in my life where I was dreaming and imagining something, and it was there, it was in my heart, but I just kept coming up against reasons why I couldn't. So there's a bit of a signal. If you've got excuses about something, it's maybe a signal that it's something you really want to do.
Yeah.
And so that journey for me was in that moment, becoming aware of that limiting belief, noticing how it was impacting me. It was preventing me from taking action, stopping me from even trying. And so as a result of that, it unlocked the opportunity for me to just set up a side hustle, which was, it sounds glamorous, but it was a few hours extra a week of coaching. And then that grew and I loved it and I did more. And then I quit my full-time job. So that's an amazing example of, in coaching, how providing the space to get off the hamster wheel of life and to actually just start noticing how your habits, behaviours, emotions, thoughts might be serving you or not serving you, and helping you gain clarity on what it is that you really want, and then coming up with a plan to be able to take the action that leads to the results. That's a big part of it for me.
And to really create change, coaching is all about really creating change, behavioural change, and change that really supports your success. So, it isn't just a one-hit wonder. We do work with people over a period of time to really help them, as Sophie said, build awareness about what's working, what's not working, and to really bring compassion to that. Because I think when I started on my coaching journey, as Sophie said, you start to do a lot of self-exploration, and you have to be coached first before you coach anyone else. And I was so hard on myself, and I realised I was looking at every single part of myself from a negative lens. I was really self-critical, and I had no idea. And it was really getting in my way and stopping me from taking action. And that inability to also sit in discomfort of change was also really holding me back. So, you know, what came from that was shifting how I saw myself first, shifting my relationship to myself. And that's also what we're really passionate about helping our clients to do, because it's building confidence from the inside out, and changing how you feel about yourself and how you see yourself can change everything around you without even anything changing. So that's how we start, and then it's about getting people into action. Okay, what are you going to do? And really getting them to commit and to be brave and take that action and feel supported. You know, you don't have to do it alone. I think that is something that we're so passionate about. I think people think, oh, if I'm going to succeed, I have to do it on my own. Well, no, that's, you know, successful entrepreneurs across the world, the richest people in the world, all have mentors, coaches, people that they go to for expert advice and support. So, you know, that's really what we're very passionate about providing and connecting people with in Jersey through our own programs, but also through other people's networks and services, so you don't have to do it alone, basically.
I mean, I think that's really crucial. That brings us also neatly into Flair. I mean, as well as the £20,000 of advertising support that the ultimate winner of this would get, you know, it's a year-long mentoring experience, obviously, having someone by your side to be able to kind of bounce ideas off. Particularly from your, absolutely.
Yes, yeah. One of this, like, the secret sauce of coaching is accountability, and it sounds like the same thing here, where if you've got that mentoring, you've got a regular meeting, so you've said you're going to do something, so suddenly you're like, I'm going to do it. And when you're doing it on your own, that accountability becomes a lot harder, and that self-motivation. So if you could put those structures into place and have that type of support, is only going to support your success.
I think also there are so many people with amazing ideas, but what often gets in the way is how do you actually market those ideas? You know, not everyone, again, has marketing degrees or knowledge or know-how. So yeah, it's an amazing initiative and will make such a difference.
Well, we're really delighted. We've had over 50 applications so far, which is exceptionally exciting. Naturally, it's going to be a massive difficulty going through all of those, because they're coming from all different kind of walks of life, completely different ideas, different stages of business. But, you know, for you guys, what would you be looking for? What kind of qualities do you think someone should have if they are to kind of win this amazing prize?
Well, I do think, I mean, that's such a good problem to have, isn't it? Over 50 applications, it's amazing. I do think that the pillars that you've laid out in order for people to apply for the initiative and the competition, you know, purpose-led, real clear vision, an inspiring story about why they care, because I think as part of the work that we do, it's helping people to connect to their bigger why, and because that is what helps you when things get tough, you know, really knowing why you're doing it, beyond obviously earning money, and that's important too, but you know, why do you want to do this? What are you driven by? What difference is it going to make to you, to your community, to the people around you, to your family? You know, that is so important. And yeah, I think that's something that I'd definitely be looking for.
Yeah, I think I would just add to that, I suppose, a willingness to be all in on something. And I think we've learned from our own journeys that you're never a finished article. You don't sort of do all of the research and make the business plan and then you launch and everything's perfect. It's about having that willingness to be open to exploring the challenges that come with entrepreneurship. And I definitely agree with Claude in terms of being mission led. We pretty much, like, not exclusively, but so many of the women we work with are really passion and mission led. And I think being able to give back through like profitability and purpose is something that we're really passionate about. And that's something that would be of interest.
Were there any, in your own business journey, you know, any hurdles that you encountered, or anyone that you've worked with who's encountered a hurdle that you've really learnt from and you would advise others to steer themselves around?
I think, I suppose collectively, I'm coming from a coaching perspective, and it's kind of like the mindset that comes with challenges, and almost trying to approach it with silver linings. And so I know that there's plenty of my clients who have had like situations where people have quit or something's gone wrong in their business, and they've had the presence of mind to be like, okay, I'm going to deal with this, but I know something good will come from this. But in the moment, I'm going to allow myself to try and get into that mode of let's figure this out, but something good will come with this, like that silver linings approach.
Yeah, I think that's something, in terms of one of the mindsets that we definitely encourage is that use every challenge as an opportunity for learning and growth, because it is, often the best lessons are the hardest ones. They don't feel good, but you definitely learn a lot. So, yeah.
Well, lastly, just to close up, tell me if someone was on the fence about applying, what would you say to them?
Oh, do it.
JFDI.
JFDI, it's one of our quotes.
Yeah, we won't say all of that, but do it.
Just
really
do
do it. I think entrepreneurship is just one of the best things I've ever done, to be honest. I'm so glad that I came into this world, and there's so much reward, and yes, there are challenges, but it is so rewarding to be able to create something and to make a positive impact and to really just bring your ideas to life with support. The people that you meet, I think in Jersey, is such a special place to launch something new. People really do care. People want to get behind you, and people love new things in Jersey. So as soon as you launch, people are going to be talking about it, and it's we've only had love, and it's been really an amazing experience. So yeah, do it.
Do it. Yeah, I'll just add to that in terms of applying for this incredible prize, which is, I think we mentioned it here today, but visibility can be a real challenge. And oftentimes, if you've got an incredible idea and you're really good at what you do, you can stay quite busy in that work. And marketing doesn't come so naturally for other people. But if you're not generating clients and you haven't got that pipeline of new opportunities, your business will quite quickly fail. So it's about investing in that marketing and being able to generate new clients, get your name out there and convert that into genuine business. And that's what we see as this being an incredible opportunity for.
Yeah, and if it feels uncomfortable, which often getting outside your comfort zone, which is key to growth, is uncomfortable. So even applying for this might feel uncomfortable for some people. That is another signal to do it. Yeah.
It's another part of the journey.
Yes.
Alt Collective, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening. If you're a woman in Jersey with a business dream, now's your chance to seize £20,000 worth of advertising support, year-long mentorship and unparalleled visibility. Head to flare.com to apply and join us in making International Women's Day a launchpad for big ideas.